Just to remind people to take care of you.
Mm,
You can't serve anyone else if you're running on empty.
absolutely.
And if you think that you're getting away with it, your body, as they say, your body keeps the score.
Yeah.
So you can't escape it. So if you think that you're going to keep going and it doesn't catch up with you, that you're good, trust me, your body is keeping the score. And at some point, it's going to set you down.
Right. Greetings and welcome to the Elevated Flo Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Flo, aka the Black Rowing Queen. The Elevated Flo Podcast spotlights elite and everyday female athletes, mostly over 40, sharing how they elevate their game and their flow in sports, wellness, work, and life. These are powerful stories of strength, resilience, wisdom, and inspiration to help women stay active, age strong, and pass the torch to the next generation. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Help me welcome Miss Tiffany Kelly to the Elevated Flo Podcast. Hey, Miss Tiffany, how are you?
I'm good in you, Flo. Good to see you.
I am good. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I'm really excited about our conversation today.
Yes, I'm excited, especially I get a chance to chit chat with you and catch up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let me give you a formal introduction. Miss Tiffany D. Kelly is a self-care strategist, educator, chef, and author committed to helping individuals and organizations reduce burnout, restore energy, and prioritize well-being. She is the founder of Tiffany Inspires, the umbrella brand behind Cooking with Tiffany and Elevate Wellness 365. She delivers interactive culinary wellness experiences, team building workshops, and transformational self-care programs designed to strengthen both people and workplace culture. With over 20 years in education and more than a decade in wellness, coaching, and group fitness, Tiffany brings a unique blend of expertise in behavior change, nutrition, and leadership development. She holds degrees in business management, math education, and educational leadership, along with advanced training in coaching, nutrition, and fitness. Tiffany is the author of multiple books, including Lady of Power, 31 Empowering Inspirations for Your Weight Loss and Wellness Journey, inspired by her personal transformation of losing over 80 pounds and reclaiming her health. She has led wellness initiatives for organizations nationwide, including the U.S. Department of Education, the National Association of Elementary School Principals, and the National Alliance of Black School Educators. Her mission is simple but powerful: to help people live healthy, happy, and free by making self-care a daily practice, not an afterthought. Ooh, that's a lot of background there, Tiffany. I love it. And I
Thank
love
you.
the fact that our companies are so aligned. I forgot about the Elevate Wellness 365 because, I'm all about elevation, elevating. So let's go back. What was the moment you realized that something had to change with your health and your life?
You're taking it all the way back.
All the way back.
All the way back. I would say a very pivotal moment for me was in about 2000, I want to say 6 or 7, I want to say it was. 2007 or 8, I was on my way to a conference in St. Louis, a science conference with some coworkers. And at that time, I was severely overweight. I was on 2 medications for high blood pressure, and I wasn't even 40 yet. And I remember I was like, I need to do something. You try this bad diet, you try that, you try this, you lose for a little while, and you get back. It's like on the wagon, off the wagon, all that, and I'm like, but I said, well, it is what it is. It's going to, just going to be fat, I guess, whatever happens, whatever. I just kind of had resolved myself with, it just is what it is. They gave me the medicine, I'm still eating what I want to eat. But I was on a plane ride coming back from that conference with a coworker. And it's crazy how God will place people different, different roles in your life. Because this is someone who I don't really always talk to all the time, but we end up sitting together on the plane. And she's telling me the story about how her mother died. And her mother died due to complications with high blood pressure.
Mm.
Because as you take those kind of medications over time, they affect other organs. So her mother
Right.
ended up having all these different health issues, and she passed away. And so
Mm.
I'm sitting there playing like I'm too young to die. Like I don't want to die. I don't have no children. I'm like I don't want to die. And so already had a couple of incidents where like I was at the brink of a stroke. Years before that, I had been when I first got diagnosed with high blood pressure. My pressure was like 200 something over 100 something, and they were like, "You on the brink of a stroke? What are you doing?" And so I made some minimal change, but not much. And then when I moved down to Georgia, I was in a similar situation again, and so they just gave me another script for some more medicine. So when I got off the plane that day, I was like, I gotta do something different. And so that was where kind of the journey began. So I began to really look at my food. I signed up for the gym. I started not eating out I stopped eating through at the fast food restaurants. I started drinking more water. And so I
Right.
slowly would start losing the weight. And then normally if I lose weight, we celebrate, oh, I'm about to have me a piece of cake. Well, my reward was like, okay, if I'm about to tell my age for sure. If I lose this first 10, 15 pounds, I'm gonna get me an iPod Nano. Because
Okay.
I was going to the gym at the time with a CD Discman in a little case with my headphones. And so I was so like, and I see other folks now with their little iPod now with the strap to their arm. Back in the day, a little fitness strap and stuff. I said, I
Mm-hmm.
haven't committed myself. I wasn't committed long enough yet to buy that. But as soon as I do, I lose these first 10, 15 pounds, whatever it is, I'm going to reward myself with an iPod Nano. Well, I got the
Okay.
iPod Nano. So I kept going. And
Well,
then after
I'm
that,
glad that it wasn't food because that's what happens a lot of times. We reward ourselves with food. So I'm glad you didn't say that. Go ahead.
absolutely, absolutely. So it wasn't food, but it allowed me to really wake up and see I had to do things differently. So I lost like the first 30 pounds of my own, and I wanted to keep going. And so at that point, I ended up hiring a trainer, and I started training with her. And
Mm-hmm.
I ended up developing a love for fitness. And she is the person I felt like God sent to help me the next leg of the journey. And so we ended up, I ended up getting to a point where I lost over 80 pounds total, and being able to compete at one time, figure competitor. I ended up becoming a fitness instructor, teaching her boot camps. Like I was not only a client, but I actually became an instructor as well. I was not only an instructor, but I was also a client. So
Right,
people
right.
kind of looked to me because I was like the poster child. I was the example. Like, hey, here's what's possible if you really stick to this. And I think that's where it began. It was like I just wanted to be well. So needless to say, 4 years later, I ended up getting off the medication that I was on. They ended up dropping the meds that I was on because my pressure had normalized. My cholesterol had always been pretty good. My cholesterol was perfect pretty much. So the change that I was making was showing up in my blood work. And so that
Mm.
made me want to,
Mhm.
okay, keep going so that way I could sustain it.
So before you said with this experience, you developed a love of fitness. Prior to that, were you ever an athlete? What sport did you play growing up?
So actually, I didn't really play sports growing up. I did volleyball and I was in high school. So I was a big volleyball fanatic. Played during gym a lot, and I was supposed to be on the volleyball team. But my father had a business, so I ran the
Okay.
business after school. So I never really had a chance to really fully play like I wanted to. But my real sport that people maybe don't consider a sport, but I was a double dutch cream. Like that was my
Yes,
thing. That
that's
was
a
my fitness.
sport.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. So now it's a big thing. They have like a double Dutch
Right.
crew over 40 and all that. Because actually, I saw it's a group here in Atlanta. I actually witnessed them at an event a couple of weeks back. I said my knee wasn't so jacked up. I would be tempted to jump in that rope. Because I have a knee injury, so I was like, I don't want to aggravate it. But yeah, double Dutch was my sport. That was my thing. Everywhere I went with my friends, I had a rope jumping. Who can turn?
And you know what? And not necessarily to promote them, but they came here, the founders, and they had an event here. And the thing that I really loved about it is that you don't have to jump to be a part of the organization. Because there was this one woman in a
Mm,
wheelchair, and she was like, "Oh, I turn or I support the people that are jumping." So I like that they have that kind of sisterhood. Okay,
yeah.
so you have that background with entrepreneurship because what kind of business did your dad have growing up that you were running?
My father had a laundromat, a dry cleaners, a catering hall, and he owned what, one, two, three apartment buildings.
Okay.
And I pretty much managed all of them.
Really? As a teenager?
Yes.
I love that. I love that. So that would be where you get your entrepreneurial spirit from. At what point in your career, because you went to school to become a teacher and you've been in education over 30 years now, at what point did you decide that you didn't want to take that traditional route and just work a traditional job?
I think it's because of the love my father instilled in me for being your own boss. He always used to tell me that he said, "You're never gonna be 100% settled at, working with somebody because you know what it's like. You've gotten a taste of what it's like to be your own boss and be an entrepreneur." And so, for really young, I was always doing something. So, like, for
Okay.
example, like, even in high school, I sold my father had a vending machine in his laundromat, and I would buy extra stuff and go to school and sell it to people. Like, that's how I paid for my prom tickets and extra money for stuff. And then when I was in college, I got into hair. So I had one of our laundromat customers. She was my first client. Like I used to go do her weaves and gluing in tracks and all kind of stuff. So it's always been in me. And then for I think after that I did tutoring. And when I moved down here, I had a tutoring company at first. And then from there I got into the fitness stuff and I did fitness classes and then I did coaching, weight loss coaching for women who are on their journey after I got myself together. And now here we are with this whole brand, whole wellness brand. But it's always been in me. I always knew that I wasn't going to do work for somebody the rest of my life. And I knew that no matter what job I had, I'm still going to have my own stuff. And
Side
I had
hustle,
a
if
hair company
nothing
too.
else, huh?
Yeah, if nothing else. And I forgot I had a hair company too. So I used to do sew-in, custom wigs.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So at what point did you start your education consulting business? And what
Um,
inspired you to start it?
Let me see. So my original company was Fit Teach, which no longer exists. Fit Teach was retired last year. That's what Elevate Wellness 365 replaced it. And so I would say in 2017 that in education, I'm what they call an instructional coach. So I
Mhm.
provide training and support to teachers. So teachers are always in my office, in and out. So I'm constantly collecting data. I keep hearing the same thing about teachers who were, burned out, who are struggling with their food, who don't eat breakfast. So, or they're dealing with different health issues. So a lot of time when teachers will come and talk to me for a like lesson debrief, we end up having a whole health coaching conversation. Like
Mm.
I started seeing a trend. And this is way before there had been a discussion around teacher wellness. And so I said, I need to do something. I really need to do something to help. But at the time I still was kind of like in the mix of I don't know, maybe I should, blah blah blah. But what happened, I actually got sick and I was on
Mm.
medical leave for a month. And while on medical leave and during this year, almost 10 years ago, God gave me Fit Teach and while I was sitting home doing nothing. He said, "You're gonna do something different to help teachers because you're not the only one who's going through this." And so I
Mm.
was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "I'm gonna work on it." So and for a while, I was like, "But how am I?" I felt like, well, how do I do this if I'm going through? And that's like God was like, He can use anybody. And so
Right, right, right.
the school district sent me to a conference. I always tell people like, yeah, you sent me to a conference in Florida, and they had this one particular topic that was around wellness out of the whole
Mm.
conference. So I said, I'm gonna go sit and see what this lady talking about. So this black lady. She was a heavy set lady. She had a really good presentation because my job was to come back to my school now and pick one of those workshops to come back and train the teachers on or to present to the
Mm.
teachers. So they sent me right. So I'm sitting in this workshop and I'm like, look at this, Tiffany. Here's this lady. No shade, but she was a
Right.
heavy set lady. She was sweating. She was pumping. And she could sing. So she had a whole like, the presentation was bomb.
Mhm.
But I'm sitting there like, now this lady who's out of shape is in here talking about self-care, can stand up here and present this information. Why can't I?
Right.
So I took my notes and I, took what I could gather from the presentation and I came back to my school and my principal said, well, hey, Miss Kelly, let me know when you want to present your, I said, so I sat home at night and I was putting the presentation together. And that was the first iteration of Fit Teach. It was a workshop around self-care. I think I called it All the Way Up because I used the All the Way Up song as my theme song opening where I had them doing fitness. I had a 5-minute fitness exercise thing they did. It was hilarious. There were no weights, no real jumping, and 5 minutes people were out of breath. And so, but I never forget because I'm like, oh my goodness, Miss Kelly, this is a lot. I said, y'all need to move around for 5 minutes. But it was the first iteration of Fit Teach and me presenting this topic around wellness, which was almost like something that you didn't hear about back then. And so from there, I started, really getting myself together to present to our people and share different things and talk about wellness and do a little bit of light coaching and things like that. And I think during the pandemic is when I really pushed it out there. And what ended up happening is at that time I was focusing on fitness mainly with teachers, helping them to be fit, doing like fitness classes and boot camps and things like that. And during the pandemic, I had a once a month thing called the Self-Care Forum or something. So every month, teachers would log on across the country and get on my Zoom call. And I would have different fitness friends come and talk about different topics and whatnot. And at the end of the series, which was in May, I sent a survey out and I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Hey, we're going to collect my data." People said, "Oh, I'm more active now. I'm eating better. I'm more aware. I'm blah, blah, blah." But when it came to the question of would you want to invest in yourself to do coaching or whatever, the answer was no. Or they think they could afford, or they didn't think they could afford it, basically. So I'm like, are y'all serious? See, I got all this good value, and me to tell me I don't want to pay for it because they felt like they didn't have the money or whatever the case may be, things like that. I mean, I had my doctors on there, from my chiropractors to my people I knew who were in therapy and counselors, my holistic medical doctor. I mean, I had high level folks on these
Mm-hmm.
calls, including myself. Cooking, I had a cooking segment, everything. And so as I sat back, I said, I'm about to switch this to B2B. I
Mm.
said, because if the teachers aren't willing to pay for it, the districts are going to pay for it to help the teachers. And
Wow.
so that's when it became a consulting business. And that's when I switched it to where now let's get districts to invest in their teachers to help them stay well so they can continue to serve students. But even with
Smart
that
move.
flow,
Smart move.
and so it's been good, but even with that, I have hit so many roadblocks in getting districts to actually see the value in saving their teachers, which really makes
Mm.
me sad sometimes.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of success and people who have booked me and contracted with me, but it's a very slow process. I had one superintendent tell me, "Well, right now I focus on student achievement." Okay, well, if the teachers are not there won't be no student achievement. If they're burned out, there won't be no student achievement.
Right.
If they're sick, you won't have any teachers, period. Like, so, but to hear that was very disheartening. It wasn't even
Yeah.
well, let's see how we can work this out to help teachers. Let's see how we can do it. It was straight, well, right now we're focusing on student achievement.
Right.
So I was like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
okay.
It's
Or
kind of like putting
another
the cart
superintendent,
before the horse type thing.
yes,
Situation.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to
And I
go
had,
back really quickly to something that you said that was really powerful. You talked about the woman that was the presenter at this conference that you went to in Florida. And you talked about how she was presenting and that she was overweight and all of that. That was really powerful because I think what happens a lot of times, I know you've heard of the imposter syndrome. I think that was a
hmm
great example for you and probably helped you because you said in the beginning, you're thinking, well, how am I going to help them when I'm going through this myself? But to see her in the position that she was in and have the confidence to be able to present, that was really powerful that inspired you to move forward. How did you, after that experience, not only help the teachers, because you said you came back and presented to them, how did that help you improve and get past the sickness that you were going through?
well, it's funny because even over the last year, that was what, 10 years ago, I had a situation last year where I became really ill. I'm a caretaker for my mother, and where my own self-care strategy didn't work for a while.
Mm.
And I became sick. I was actually in a situation once again where my pressure was just out of control. It was even more crazy and more, mentally it was messing with me because the month before that I had just finished my book launch for my eighth book around women and wellness, Lady of Power,
Mm.
second edition. So I'm like, how you gonna call yourself the self-care strategist, Tiffany? And you here now on medical leave, can't go to work, gotta go through therapy and everything else. Like when I sat down, it's like I said to myself, nah, we ain't gonna do that. That's just God sitting you down because he need to talk to you for a moment. It's some more work he got for you to do. And it's how he getting your attention right now. Not only that, your story is gonna change the trajectory of a lot of people's lives because you're real. So for me, I think it helped me back then and it helps me now. I can speak to it and I feel ashamed because I think I basically I held the shame. I felt shamed. I
Mm.
felt shamed that I was sick. How do you tell other people you're now sick? But what really helped me was that, Tiffany, I don't care. you have to continue to still show up because somebody needs to know that you're real and
Mm,
that you're human. Despite that you got sick doesn't mean that you're not human. Despite that you got sick doesn't mean that you still are not powerful. Doesn't mean that you still can't be you. Doesn't mean that it lessens the assignment that God has put on my life. Doesn't mean
right,
that.
right, right.
And so, and I think the proof for me was last year I was part of when I was on medical leave. I was in that May I had asked to be one of the speakers for a online masterclass series
Mhm.
by a very popular, well-known travel, huge women's travel group here in Atlanta. And I was like, wow, she asked me, but we haven't really had a previous relationship. And she said, yeah, she said, I want to know if you're interested because I want to put you on this platform.
Okay.
There must be it was almost 50 women on that Zoom call for that workshop, that masterclass.
Mhm.
And when I tell you the chat box, the Zoom chat box was on fire. Those
Mm.
women were dropping those women dropped like emojis with their crying emojis. Talking about they basically like I hit some hard spots for them. The founder after the end of my session, the founder came on. She said, "I don't know if y'all saw me come off camera." She said, "But I had to go get some tissue."
Mm.
So that told me that, see, Tiffany, God can use you no matter which stage you're in. See,
Right,
Tiffany,
right, right.
your story by just being because I told her, I said, listen, I'm on medical leave right now.
Mm.
I said, and here's what happened to me. For the first time ever, I was just straight transparent. Just
Right,
because I look
right.
like this don't mean because I'm always thinking I gotta be perfect, I gotta be put together, and blah 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 blah. No, I was like, here's where I was naked and unashamed. Here's where
I
I am.
love it. I love it.
And so I think that's what shifted things for me is that I had to really understand that being real is what women need. Just be
Yes, yes,
real. Just be
yes.
who you are. Just be honest. Like don't nobody is perfect. Don't put up no front. Nobody want to see that. Do you understand me because you've been through something? Don't show up like you ain't never been through nothing. Nobody don't want to hear that.
Right, right,
So that's what
right,
I'm learning. And that's what's been helping me to like remove the imposter syndrome. You know? That's what's
right.
been helping me.
I love that. Especially because in this day and age of social media, everybody shows up like they're perfect and someone said it on the previous podcast is it's not real life, it's a highlight. So it's like they're going to show you all that they want you to see,
Mhm.
but in at this time I think that is what is really really helping people is when people can be transparent, open, honest, and just say, look, this is where I am. I'm trying to help you. I've been there, but doesn't mean that I have not kind of slipped back into that. Just because I'm
Mhm.
healthy and lost all this weight or whatever, doesn't mean that I don't put on weight. And it's really
Yep.
a head game where you're like, feel like you have to be perfect. And even with some of these fitness people online, they show these pictures where they're ripped. It's like that, number one, is not healthy because you're not
Mhm.
going to look like that
Yep.
365.
That part.
And yes, they may have dieted and done what they needed to do to take those really really good pictures. And if people are open and honest about that, I think that more people will be able to relate to them and say, I can do that too. But I think
Mhm.
because people aren't transparent about their journey and feel like they've arrived and they don't have any challenges after they've
Yes.
reached the goal, that's what makes people feel like they can't do it. So I'm glad that you have
Absolutely.
come to that realization to say, look, F imposter syndrome. That was
Right.
the name of the book of one of my guests. Is F imposter
I like
syndrome. Like
that.
just show up,
Just show
because
up. Yep.
people will feel like, okay, she got there and she's still having challenges. I could do it too.
Absolutely. You know, what you said that reminded me of years ago when I was studying for my personal training certification, right? We had to do an internship at the gym so the gym owner had a company. So he had the gym where we worked out at, and then he had the university where you go train to be a personal trainer. So I had trained
Mm-hmm.
with them and then I decided I wanted to go through the process of being a personal trainer. So, but at the end of your classes, you had to do the internship, right? They had
Mm-hmm.
rules. How you had to dress. Like you couldn't have your arms out, you couldn't have no tank top shirt up with with your abs showing. You couldn't. They had rules of how you were to dress because they said that what you don't want to happen is you don't want your clients to be intimidated. You don't want your
Yeah.
clients to feel less than. You don't want your clients to feel like you have to show like so it reminded me of how, important that was not to like make clients even feel bad. Well, I'm not like her, or comparing. No, I'm professional. I come here to help you. You ain't gotta see all of that. Like you don't that's
Right.
not even what this is about. And I think that sometimes social media makes us feel like we have to show up this perfect person when I respect any like I don't you ever see like the Zumba instructors a lot of times a lot of the people I've seen like do Zumba, they're not always like say totally fit and cut up,
Right.
but they be moving. They moving. They moving. They got all the energy in the world. They're flexible. They hold in that class for the whole hour. You don't even see them hardly breathe hard. So it's like but sometimes it's not even about all of that. It's about, okay,
Right.
how active are you? Are you being more active? Are you taking care of your health as far as eating right? Things like that. So I respect them when I see that. Yeah. 'Cause like, oh, she's like me. Okay, she understands.
Right. And I will
Yep.
say though, there on the other hand, there are some people that want to see the instructors or their
Right.
personal trainer look ripped. So that's why there's somebody for everybody because,
Yep.
you have to think about who it is that you're trying to reach and how they want you to show up, but still being yourself because you're going to attract those
Right.
people that like what it is that you're presenting and the way that you show up, you
Absolutely.
know?
Right.
So what
Absolutely.
what would you say other than just not wanting to die? What would you say has really kept you just staying in this path of helping women and how you changed everything to that self-care part of it?
I would say that I love helping people and I love being an example. The thing that keeps me going is knowing that what I'm doing is help change lives. Like there are people that I don't even know they're watching me. And if I see
Right.
them in public, like, oh my goodness, Tiffany, I follow you on Instagram I'm just, and that's so it's funny because my company name is Tiffany Inspires. And they're like, you're just so inspiring. Like, but it's just being able to drop a nugget for like women who actually have gone through my previous coaching program
Right.
and just seeing them get their life back. It's helping them to see, hey, listen, this may be hard, but you can do this. And seeing them shift from, I don't know if I can do this to, hey, listen, I prepped my meals today, Tiffany. Hey, I got to go to the gym today,
Mm,
Tiffany. Hey, I did this. So seeing that I have the power to help other people change habits. Like God is using me to help other people change habits. Like
right,
I was
right,
talking to
right.
my assistant principal today, and he was telling me, he was like, he was some Skittles or something. I said, you eating sugar again? He said, no. He said, this is not for me. He said, matter of fact, I want to tell you what I've been doing. And he was like, he said, you're gonna be so proud of me. He was running down all the things that he gave up. I was like, that's what I'm
Oh,
talking about. And so being able to show people, hey, it doesn't have to be that hard. Just take the first step. Drink more.
absolutely.
Can you drink more water? Can you cook some more meals at home?
Right.
Can you join a fitness class, get a walking buddy, just do something different to change the results. And I think that's the thing that keeps me going is that, being able to help people just understand they can live healthy, happy, and free. They can really make changes and it doesn't happen abruptly. It's just going to be, you're going to put some work in it,
Right.
and being able to be an example as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what are some mindset shifts and self-care tips that you can give that actually creates results? Something that I mean,
Mm,
because a lot of how do you inspire women to really say that this is important and that they can make time for it?
got you. So one of the mindset shifts that I always share is about giving yourself some grace. You gotta give yourself some grace. A lot of times, and you can't. And I always say, one of my quotes is, "Small changes over time leads to success." So you have to understand that it's not going to happen overnight, but you have to be willing to be intentional with taking small steps, little by little, that lead to big results later. And it's giving yourself grace. Okay, so you fell off the wagon. Like I was telling you in the beginning, like I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm just gonna be fat because I'm over it. Like I was
Right.
comfortable, but I had to get to a place that, okay, no, okay, I fell off the wagon. Okay, but you gotta get me try again. Okay, and look at, okay, what did I do wrong this time that I'm gonna do different the next time? And so it's being able to give yourself that grace and understand that this process does not change overnight. It's small
Right.
changes over time. The other thing
Absolutely.
as far as self care, my biggest thing is boundaries.
Mm.
Boundaries. Like we as women, like I was just talking to my goddaughter before this podcast because she was having a hard time with someone who she said she used to live in their home, and she became like almost like icicle. I teased. I said, what you the nanny? Because she the little boy, she just likes to take care of him a lot when she come home. And so the young lady, was a little upset because she wasn't able to. She has an injury right now, and she really and shouldn't be walking, shouldn't be moving around, and she felt bad about not being able to come help. I said, but sometimes you gotta say no.
Right.
Some things you have to create the boundary. And so sometimes we as women, we feel obligated, or we feel bad if we can't do something, but the person that feel bad asking you. But
Right.
even and so my thing is like, if they don't ask you, they're gonna ask somebody else at some point. And how do you feel when you said yes to something that you really want to say no to?
Mm.
So it's like creating that boundary. Even my mother, I take care of my mom. I have my cousin that help. And even my parent, I have to create a boundary. Listen, mom, I can't do this today. My mom was ill this morning, and I went over to make sure she was okay. And my mother she's in the bed. I'm talking about, well, those bills. Ma, not this morning. We're not going to throw no bills this morning. No, we're not. We just got your pressure down. We just got you straight. Like, we're not doing this. Like, no.
Right.
And even for myself, because I have 50 million things being thrown at me, and what we're not going to do this morning is talk about that. So it's being very unapologetic about your boundaries, Lee.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things. The other thing, another self-care tip is finding time to rest. Not saying it has to be sleep. It's saying,
Yeah.
can I just I love, I'm here this is the other house. I'm here in Jonesboro, Hey, enjoy just being here, laying in my bed, watching TV sometimes. I don't feel guilty about it.
That's
I got 50
awesome.
million things let me do for my business. Trust and believe your girl gonna lay down in the bed and chill out for a minute. I sure am.
Now,
Look,
let me ask you this. Was there a point when you did feel guilty about it?
oh my gosh, I
Okay.
gotta do this, I
Okay.
gotta do that. Like, no, no, I'm sorry. Like, even let me tell you something. Even when I gotta go play, like, I'm like, dang, I gotta get dressed, do my makeup. Yeah, I'm not going. Like, if it's just, I'm just in a place I enjoy the rest because I know I have a lot of things that I'm doing.
Right.
And
Right.
so I have gotten to a place where I enjoy the. I don't care. Like I'm looking forward to the sun. I love that the daylight savings happen. I love the daylight. I love to go to the park and walk. Like more sun, more daylight. So those are my things. I have a bike now. I go bike riding
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. I love to be outside. So do something that brings you joy. And especially if
Absolutely.
you're over 40. I just turned 50 not last month, was it January? I
Mm-hmm.
just turned 50 in January. And they didn't tell no lie. There's something that happens to you when you turn 50. Because I swear to you, there's something that happens, Flo. You know it. That's why you're laughing. It's
Yes.
something
Yes.
that happens.
That's why,
Like
look,
when
we're
I
going to get to that point, but I'm like, that's why we got to pass the torch to the next generation. Because our
listen,
parents didn't do that. But go ahead.
no. So it's like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm gonna sit outside and sip my water. Yeah, I'm like,
Right.
this.
Right.
I'm good. But so I would say definitely boundaries, finding time to rest, and the other one is definitely where if you're over 40, you have to now really look at how are you nourishing yourself, mind, body, spirit, and so like what you're putting in your body. Right now, I'm on a reset. I'm doing a reset right now. Because I took a little couple of pounds last year being home, not being able to really work out, not feeling well because I was really battling with depression last year
Mm.
when I got sick. So like so I'm down 8 pounds. I know what to do. But I joined this process for accountability. So I'm in that. I do fasting on Fridays. Um, being able to look at my food. Okay, what am I eliminating from my diet that I know is gonna harm me later? So I will say to us women over 40 that we have to look at how we nourishing our body. Because here's
Mm-hmm.
when we have the ability to change something. And like I was telling, one of my friends, she's battling leukemia right now. I said, listen, I need you to cut back on some of the processed foods if you're eating it, even if it's chicken, do more plant-based, drink, get your water in. I just dropped off some raw broccoli, like, hey, put it in your salad, like just doing something different and not being old because a lot of times we see all these restaurants everything but if y'all know how much sodium is in some of that stuff you wouldn't even go.
Right.
Like a friend of mine, what I told us, I'm dating, I'm single, and so I'm like, I don't need no free meal. I'm good. I cook at home.
Right.
I'm not because like a lot of the men have on I was on a swiping left, swiping right. I just deleted it all together at this point. But just like reading the profiles and the guys that talk about, oh, they're not looking to buy no free meal, and don't ask me to cash up you. I said, first, I was like, I told this one guy, I said, I don't need no free meal. I cook my own food. I'm good. I don't need to be in no restaurant. How about you meet me at the park for a walk? How about that? When the
Right.
last
That
time you
part.
worked out?
That part.
But I would say for us as women over 40, we have to be mindful of that, because when we take care of our bodies, we allow ourselves, it's preventive measures that we're not turning on diseases,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
so that's very important. And so being able to nourish our bodies, and then the other part is nourishing our mind. So
Mm-hmm.
of course the resting, how we think about stuff. Sometimes it's eliminating folks from our lives that's giving us stress. Like creating, that's another boundary. Like, yeah, girl. Oh, no, wait. They say if you do this one, it means that's a big one, right? You got that big
This
T.
one, the
But
middle one.
anyway,
Okay.
I think the
Okay.
middle ones. I think that's what my goddaughter told me. Them young people got all kind of whatever. But it's like really looking at who's in your circle,
Right.
like being able to like really, like I had a friend that said I said, okay, I'm good. Like, cause I know, like I did the best I could. And maybe I wasn't, my capacity is maxed out. So I
Mm-hmm.
know it's okay. Some people only in your life for a season. So
That's
just,
right.
I don't love you I love you still, but maybe it's just our season is up. And I had to learn to be okay with that. That comes with age too, Ain't gotta be everybody's friend.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
it's being able to create those boundaries, being able to get your rest, being able to really nourish your body, especially when it comes to food, what you're eating, even down to what you're drinking. If you're not drinking enough water, you are setting yourself up to have kidney problems and all kind of health issues. Because as you know, Flo, water is essential to every organ in our body. But you know what I mean? Women in our age bracket don't like water,
Mm-hmm.
don't drink water. We need that. And so that's another thing. And so being able to really take care of that part, and then the nourishing part of it, mentally, emotionally, and watching who you give your energy to, and if it means blocking folks, looking at, okay, your spiritual walk, how you think of your spiritual self, the spiritual part of your life, all of that. Like I meditate and I pray in the morning before I go to work most of the time. If I ain't running late. If I'm running late, it's at work. It happens at work. But find your a journal or a devotional or listening to it on a podcast or whatever.
Right.
But doing things that continue to nourish your mind, your body, and your spirit is
Right.
important.
You said
Yep.
so much in that last part, and I'm gonna try to remember all of them because I'm not taking notes, but I should have been. A couple of things that I wanted to point out that you talked about. You talked about prioritizing, creating boundaries, and not feeling guilty about saying no. That's
Mhm.
extremely important. I think as caregivers,
Yep.
naturally, we're nurturers and we want everybody to be happy and feel taken care of. And so sometimes we have a problem with not taking care of ourselves first and understanding that that's the most important thing, that we need to take care of ourselves so we can show up better and take care of those that are dependent on us. Number one. The other part is that you talked about investing in yourself. So even though we're coaches and we're fitness pros and all of that, sometimes you need to take a step back and say, and this comes with being an athlete. A lot of women that played youth sports are now in their careers and they may not have those mentors and coaches and things of that nature in
Mhm.
the environment, the work environment that they're in. But just like those teachers didn't want to invest in their self-care or the program that you were talking about, sometimes we as not sometimes, we need to, as professionals,
Mhm.
step out and say, okay, I can't always be my only coach. I need to look outside of myself to get that accountability and support. And sometimes, most times, it's investing in yourself. So it's going to cost you some money, but it's well worth
Absolutely.
it. And especially in these corporations, you talked about the school saying that they were focused on the student improvement,
Yeah. Mhm.
achievement. If they are telling you in essence that you are not important
Mhm.
right now, we're going to put you on the back burner so we can focus on the students. That's when you really need to step up and say, wait a minute, but I need to prioritize myself. How have you,
Mhm.
with the companies that you have been able to work with, how have you been able to help them understand the importance of just that? This is a priority, not just a nice to or an afterthought, as you said in your bio.
Right. So what I try my best to do, whether it's a corporation or school district, even churches, believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
is to understand that if your people aren't well, your productivity will not be at its top. It won't be top notch.
Absolutely.
We have to look at the people who are caring for. We have to look at how they're caring for people because that also determines how they also care for the people below them, like our students. Like I see it in my own school right now. It's like the teachers are tired,
Right.
and the district keeps piling stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. And to be very transparent, that's why I'm not returning this year. That's huge for me. So
It
actually, I'm going
is. You've
yet.
been talking about that for 2 years.
So
Awesome.
I'm stepping out
Congratulations.
to do things. Thank you. But I've gotten to a place where I was sharing this with some colleagues. This is like an aha moment for me last week when I was actually home, resting. I was tired that day. I didn't go to work. So I had to stay home. I had to take me a sick day. I was tired. And so that's another thing we don't do. We wear these badges of honor, like, oh,
I never had a sick day,
I
and
haven't, I've never been, right. I've never been absent before. Who cares?
Right.
But you burned out, boo. Like, what? Anyway, like, so, and my thing is, like, so I have a new, I'm doing ready to do a post tomorrow on LinkedIn about this. It doesn't matter how much rest you get, how much self-care you do, if you're still going back into an organization that's depleting you.
Right.
Doesn't
Right.
matter. Doesn't matter.
Right.
So I try to get
There has to be a
organization.
cultural shift.
There you go.
Right.
It has to be a culture shift. So I urge leaders to look at, okay, what are some things that you can do that will lighten your people, your staff, their load? What practices can you shift that won't make the people feel like, well, they telling us to rest when we go home, but they're the reason why we tired.
Right.
It's like the abuser telling the victim, like, hey, take care of yourself. But you're the one that's abusing me.
Right.
So it's helping them to really create a culture that, hey, I care about you.
If you're leading high performers and wondering why they burn out, disengage, or plateau, this is for you. Former athletes and high achievers don't struggle because they lack drive or discipline. They struggle because the supportive systems that once supported them and fueled their growth are gone. I partner with organizations that want more than output. They want thriving leaders, retention, and sustainable performance. Because true wellness and growth aren't perks, they're fundamental. If you're ready to build a culture that supports the whole person at work and beyond, let's talk. Click the link in the description to explore how we can partner to prioritize workplace wellness. Now let's get back to the episode.
And so, like, I have a school in Atlanta. I just had a big cooking experience with them this week here, matter of fact. But they've had a series of workshops over the years. So every school year, you say, hey, Tiffany, if I have the money, we gotta get you in. We're gonna do another workshop. We're gonna do a series of workshops. And so it's being able to find leaders like him who really value their staff. And it's evident because that's where his staff don't leave.
That's that retention.
I text them, they say, yes. So I text them, I said, hey, I have a teacher that's looking for a new role. I said, if you have an opening, let me know. He said to me, I'll keep my eyes open. He said, but my people normally don't leave.
I
I know that because I've been with them almost 4 years. It's very powerful. I think I've been coming to their school almost 4 years, and this is the same staff team. They saw me on too. They're like, oh my goodness. They're like, we couldn't wait for this because they knew by the survey what was coming, and they're like, yeah, we can't wait for this. They were excited, but their principal invests in his people.
I love it.
So we need more of that.
And it trickles down to the students. Right.
Yes. And so it really breaks my heart when I don't see enough of our people who are in leadership roles who are not necessarily taking care of their people, but they want them to continue to perform and help students. To me, it makes no sense. So again, it's like you're trying to take care of yourself outside because the inside is not helping you to do that. And so you constantly are depleted. You fill up and you come back and it's depleted. It's like that's why I call it burnout, a slow leak of the soul. It's like you fill up and you're slowly being depleted again. Or like, it's like you fill up your gas tank and somebody done siphoned your gas out your tank. So you depleted again. You done filled it up. You done come back in and you're like, why is my tank empty? Because they done siphoned you out again. They done took all the gas out of you. Same thing. So I try my best even with churches, when I go, like I have a church that's coming here for a cooking experience. It's a small church and they're going to have their service here with 20 of their members to come here to do a cooking experience in next month, right? I'm excited about that because I love my church folk. I
You
love
what?
getting them. I
Okay.
love getting with them because I can now talk about how you're not how are you taking care of your temple. So in my book, chapter 10 is called No More Trash in His Temple. And
Mm,
it's from First Corinthians, it's from the chapter first, the book of the Bible, 1 Corinthians 6:19, where you talk about how our bodies are God's temple. They don't belong to us, right? And so what I usually do is I charge the lead ministers or the pastors of the church to do things different when it comes to how they encourage their people to live well. You can't have me come here and do a workshop on wellness, and next Sunday you serving sweet tea, that sweet sugared up punch, fried chicken, fried
right,
fish,
right.
cake, and nothing green. You can't continue to live
Or
unhealthy
over
and you're the
buttered
pastor.
greens,
That part,
over
that
buttered
part.
string beans.
String beans, all that. You can't continue to do that when you have the ability because you're the person that people look
Right.
to make change. So I love it. We gotta do something different. I always say everybody in this room got an assignment, but you're cutting your assignment short because you're not taking time to take care of your own health and well-being. And your
Right.
assignment God has given you requires you to be fit for the journey. But you're out here eating
Absolutely.
and drinking and doing the most. And every time I was telling the pastor the other night, every time I hear that scripture, as a sermon delivered from that scripture, it's always addressing drugs, alcohol, and sex. But nobody's talking about the
Mm,
food. No
mm.
one's talking about the food
Yeah, that's
when it comes to
good.
your
That's
temple.
good.
They're not talking about that, but that's the issue. Yeah, so it's really able to help organizations see, food leaders see, you have to shift practice because if not, your people are being depleted. No matter
Right.
what they do after they leave here, they're still coming back empty. And you're going to
Right.
see it in how things are, the productivity of your organization. You will see it in how things are being performed.
Absolutely. And you know what that makes me think about is sometimes, a lot of times, people need to just be educated because we both
Mhm.
know as fitness professionals and have education, higher education in nutrition, that the reason that they say diabetes runs in families, it has nothing to do,
There you
excuse me,
go.
type 2 diabetes has nothing to do
Hmm.
with genetics. It has everything to do with us continuing the traditions of the way we eat in our families. So a lot of
Yep.
times we just don't know better. So, how do
Mhm.
you inspire people to change their eating habits and not feel like they're have to be restricted? Because even
Mm.
as, and I'll just say this real quick, even as a person that coaches people about nutrition, I try to steer away from using the words like, oh, you can't eat this, you can't eat that. I try to say all of the wonderful things you can eat and how you could replace this with that versus like don't eat this, no alcohol, no this, no,
Mhm.
so how is it that you inspire people to change their relationship with food and their understanding about the importance of it fueling their body without thinking about restriction?
Well, you said the key word. Definitely, it's a mindset shift. My mother is a prime example of that. I had a conversation with her this morning. It's like number one is understand that you want to choose food that fuels the body. You said it, fuels the body, and being able to help people understand that these foods that I try my best not to use the word bad choices. Here's a better choice. Here's a
Mm-hmm.
healthier choice, right? Um,
Right.
and helping people to see it. And that's where my brand kind of got took off because Cooking with Tiffany started with me being creative with my food after getting my first meal plan from my trainer. I didn't know it was gonna be
Mm.
Cooking with Tiffany later on down the line, but I just had a post yesterday on my social media where I was talking about um how when I first got my first meal plan, I said, "She's serious? I'm a big girl. What you like what? Like what is this?" So I said, she said I have to have chicken 3 different ways. So it was helping. So in my coaching, I like to help people see the creativity behind the food. Okay, so here's 3 different ways you can cook this chicken and it still tastes good.
Ah.
Healthy food does
Mm-hmm.
taste good. It's how you cook it,
Right.
the right seasonings and the flavor. And so through my Cooking with Tiffany brand, it's been how I've been able to help people shift. Oh, this is good, Tiffany. This is healthy. Yes, it is. Like being able to show them that you can still eat healthy and don't have to feel restricted. Let's make
Right.
it look pretty. I like to call them pretty plates. Let's make it look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Let's set the bar like yesterday, 2 days ago when I did the cooking thing at the school. 37 educators, almost 40 educators, and we did what I call a Thrive Bowl, and it was
Okay.
basically turmeric infused jasmine rice, was a veggie medley with broccoli, bell peppers, they had zucchini, they had spinach. So basically, and making it look pretty. The colors, the reds from the bell peppers, the green from the veggies, and then they did grilled chicken with a very
Mm,
lightly glaze of honey, just a little bit on a brush. Something
mm.
as simple as that would encourage people to now go back in their kitchens and cook. And what was even more powerful was that one of the ladies had her little son there with him, and she said, "Hey, Tiffany, it's kid approved," because she shared it with her son, and he said, "This is good." It looked like a little 9-year-old or something. So now the whole family is being blessed. So it's being able
Awesome.
to show people that here's how you can get creative, and you don't have to compromise flavor. You don't have to compromise. So it's like, okay, I like yellow rice. That's how I got into the whole turmeric infused stuff. I'm like, I love yellow rice, but
Okay.
spinach rice ain't healthy. It's a lot of salt in that stuff. So I start with brown rice. I take brown rice, put a bay leaf in there with a little bit of low sodium veggie broth, cook it in a rice cooker, put a little bit of sea salt on it, maybe if I need to, a little bit of pepper, because the pepper infuses the turmeric, add the turmeric with
Mm-hmm.
it. Boom, I got yellow rice. Trick of the brain. Add some veggies to it. Now I got me a little mini, what do you call it? Like a stir fry almost, or Mexican toss up, or whatever you want to call it. Just being able to do that, I had a healthy version of paella. So like this, just little things you can do that's still healthy and
Right.
not with all the calories and the sodium. So it's being creative. So I like to help people be creative with their food so they can enjoy it and it looks good to the eye. It doesn't have to be boring.
So is that when you actually started cooking? Or had you been cooking
It
prior to that, but then you got a little bit more creative because you was like, I want my food to look good and taste good.
so it started with like my post yesterday talked about how I never thought I would have a cooking brand. That was never my intention. I was gonna be author, speaker, coach. That was it. Author, speaker, coach. Coaching groups. That's it. Speaking engagements. That was it. Food was never in the books for me. Like never on my books. No,
Wow.
no, no. What they call it, vision board, or like you put your ideas in the book. Never. But
Wow.
what ended up
And you do
happening
it
is
so well. We got to make sure we put a
that was never
picture in there with your events and the what do you call
that
it?
was
The
never my
workshop or
thing.
the Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But I was on that post, I was saying, Flo, I was like, back in the day, I came to eat. I ain't come to cook nothing. My grandmother, my aunts, all of them cooked. I ain't have to cook. I was coming. I said, I may have peeled some
Wow.
potatoes, cut up some stuff. Even my father at the catering part of our catering hall, I was a prep girl. He would have me like set stuff up, make it look pretty, whatever. But like cook food, that wasn't me. No, I ain't cooking no food. I want to eat. When that gonna be ready? So when my mother discovered I could cook when she came down here to visit one time, she said, "Wait a minute. So you've been hustling me all these years? Well, a girl got to eat. I gotta, I'm down here by myself because you cook. She cooked all the time. What other reason to cook no food? My mother would get up in the
Mhm.
morning and make biscuits from scratch. What am I gonna
Okay.
cook for? She making biscuits from scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But but I had to. But what ended up happening when I got on my weight loss journey and I got the meal plan, I said, "I'm gonna have to get creative because I gotta
Right.
eat." So, I just I felt like that was just when and it was crazy because I was doing this with my trainer's clients. I did a workshop on how to navigate your meal plan
Oh
because I
wow.
used to have all this
Okay.
pretty food, and I didn't know that that was the making of Cooking with Tiffany. Didn't even know it. And
Interesting.
people would ask me all the time after I would teach the boot camp on Wednesday night. I'll never forget. Well, Tiffany, how do you cook this? And how do you cook that? And how do you cook that? I'm just giving away recipes, didn't even think I'm created, didn't even know. And years later, a post on Facebook would change my life. A
Wow.
post of kale, chicken, and black rice would change my life. You're like, black rice, what is that? Okay, let me go live and show you how to cook this black rice. And that one live turned into a whole Cooking Healthy with Tiffany video series on Facebook Live
What?
every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. That's how I got started. And then from there
Wow.
came a cookbook. People started asking for a cookbook. Then from there it came, okay, can you come to my Facebook group and do a cooking demo? Then I started doing that. Then it was, okay, Tiffany, can you do this? And this okay, can you do this? So it kind of just ended up and then from there I ended up cooking live for the Pinners conference. And then it was me doing my own event. And then I ended up dropping a seasoning line. And then it just kept evolving. I said, this Cooking with Tiffany thing is taking over my whole brand. And so that's kind of how it happened. But the idea was just to like I didn't never intended to have anything related to cooking. That was not my that was not what I thought I was gonna do. But I guess God
Right,
thought
right.
different. But no, most growing up, I didn't cook growing up. I was the one who came to eat. But I watched. So I learned because I used to always watch.
Mhm.
And I follow instructions well. So I would call my aunt, so how do you cook this? And so that's how I learned. Other than that, no, that was never my intention.
I love the fact that you embraced it though and said, you know, because that's a huge pivot. That's a huge pivot. But when you're single and you got to eat and you like to eat, but you want to keep that
Right.
80 pounds off that you lost, that's a good way to motivate you to say, okay, I'm going to start cooking.
Absolutely.
But then to actually start teaching other people, and then that's a huge pivot in your business to go from speaker, leader, coach, and to start cooking experiences. So
Yes.
how is that incorporated in what it is that you do? Do you actually speak at those events as well, or is it just cooking?
So I have different ways you can tap into me. So some engagements are me just speaking, sharing my journey, telling my story.
Mm-hmm.
Some events I may do a cooking demo and talk and share my story, share tips, share strategies, talk about the nutrients of the food I'm cooking. I may have people in the audience be my sous chefs. Some of the experiences are full-fledged cooking experiences where either it's in the studio here or either I'm coming to you. And like the one that was on Tuesday was a cooking experience with team building. So like
Okay.
every table, people had jobs. We had the plating director who she had to choose the best plate for their table to represent. So I had nine groups, and they had to have a person from each one of their groups to come to the front to represent with their bowl that they chose for their group to represent their group.
Mm,
And then I had the principal choose the top person, and everybody's they got little packages with little sample seasonings in it, and then the main person that won, they got the big bottle of seasoning. And so it was a way to build connection, a way for
yeah, I love
colleagues who may
that.
not even talk to each other during the day to actually connect with one another and have they're gonna be talking about this for the next couple of months, sure enough. And so that's the whole idea. So that's one way of doing it. And then I have workshops that are straight wellness workshops where you may create a self-care plan with me, or I may do something with leaders where leaders are actually creating their own self-care plans and helping them to see what can we do differently at our schools or at our organizations to help our staff people stay and be well. And so I do those as well. So so it's a variety of different ways you can connect and tap into what I do.
So what are some things that corporations and schools are getting wrong about what wellness looks like, sustainable wellness looks like?
What they're doing wrong is that they're thinking it's a one and done, and it's
Mm,
not.
that's good. That's
Like you
good.
can't. I mean, granted, they booked me one time, but I'm looking for an organization or organizations, I should say, that are willing to go 365 with me a whole year.
Mm,
That are willing to put workshops in place either every other month, every quarter, or whatever. Every quarter with follow-ups in the middle of the
right.
quarter. Where
Right.
it could be online, it could be a virtual event, it could be something like that. But we have an in-person connection as well. It could be where if it's schools, for example, schools normally were in session for 9 months. So we're like, there's one every other month with a
Mm-hmm.
culminating activity at the end with the reflections and discussions about, okay, where do they want to go next? And that's what
Right.
the school I met with on Tuesday, that's what we normally do. Okay, so we sit down after we get the survey together. Okay, where are we going next? What would you like to see happen next at your school? And so where organizations are getting it wrong is that they're thinking it's one and done. And when they think of self-care, they're
That's
thinking of
true.
more like, oh, we have someone come in and just do yoga. No shade to
Mm-hmm.
yoga, no
Right. Right.
shade,
Right.
but it's so much deeper than just we're gonna put a yoga class out there. Come on, yoga, and let's have a good time. That's not
Right.
necessarily what people need right now.
Right.
People need some discussions around what can I do to preserve myself? Can I
Right.
sit
Right.
and
Right.
create a real wellness plan that makes sense, that's doable? And how do I continue by having a coach who I can tap into to stay accountable? Me, like
Accountability.
having me where we have a check-in call where people can log in and we can have a discussion. So how's your wellness plan going? Okay, where are
Right.
your challenges at? What are we celebrating this month? How can we overcome some of the challenges you had last month? So next month when you tap into me, I can hear some good results. That's what I'm looking for. Those kind of
Absolutely.
leaders that are willing to take it beyond a yoga class. That's what I
Right.
need.
Well, speaking of the wellness not just being, or we talked about health and wellness when it relates to disease and things in people's family. How is it, or what is it that you want to do to inspire the next generation? So, this is what we call our passing the torch to the next generation.
Mm,
How is it that you inspire? Because with you helping the teachers, you're helping the next generation. But what is something that you want to do to really inspire the next generation when it comes to self-care, wellness, and health?
Well, one of the things here in Atlanta there's an organization that they mentor girls. So about a month, not about a month ago, I actually had a chance to present to their middle school girls around healthy snacks. So I was dropping a tea on these viral TikTok snacks that are just terrible for their body. And so being able to show them, hey, here's another option. And so so I'm looking forward. I actually just sent them a proposal because I am looking to work with them in the summer during their camp to help the young ladies cook healthy meals. And there's another organization as well that I need to reach out to who's also interested in doing something with their girls around eating healthy. And so that's one of the ways that I'm passing the torch is by talking to young people around being more conscious of what they're putting in their body,
That's good.
especially those that are old make decisions. And then, like I did a couple of years ago, I had a workshop, a program that works with kids who are on their way to college, and I was one of their stops, the studio, for them to do a cooking class and a
Okay.
discussion around healthy eating and how to shop on a budget when you go to college,
I love that.
and helping them
Yeah.
to see like here's something you can prepare in your dorm,
Right.
and it's healthier, you know. Some of the ways that I'm connecting with colleges to do some healthy eating workshops to help the next generation to take better care of themselves. Because there's so much that they're exposed to now that it's like it's crazy. And we have a lot of young people that are leaving here because they're not eating right now. They're drinking enough water, they're not eating healthy food, they eat a lot of trashy food in the street. I'm also the same thing with my goddaughter, just helping her to make good choice. She said that she's ready to do her detox now, things like that. So she's like, yeah, I don't eat that. Like she cooking for her, I don't eat that. So we're getting there. We're getting there little by little. Yep.
Okay. So I said in your bio that you like to help people live healthy, happy, and free. What does that look like in real life?
Healthy, happy, and free looks like those boundaries we talked about. I'm taking care, nourishing yourself, eating well, taking time to rest, doing things that bring you joy, and being unapologetic about your health and well-being.
Absolutely.
So that's big for me. Like, if it's not gonna fuel you, like you were talking about before, if it's not gonna fill your cup, be okay with saying no
Yeah,
and doing what makes you happy.
that's
That's
good.
what sets you free. That's
That's
what sets you
good.
free.
That's good. You were talking about doing things that bring you joy, and sometimes you have to just say, okay, I know I have a lot of work to do, but I'm gonna just take a rest, lie down, whatever. And it made me
Hmm.
think about today, like, this has been such a busy week, and I've been so excited because it's spring break here for the kids, so I haven't had to
Oh.
coach in the evening. And even with all that I have to do today, I was like, this is one day that one of my girlfriends, she's available. And I was like, this is the day where I don't have a lot of clients. I had just one client this morning. And I was like, you know what? Let's meet up. And I really love her because she was like, well, you always drive to Dallas. Let me come towards you. I was like, so we went to a preserve, a nature preserve, and walked around. It had a butterfly garden, and we sat and talked. And then from there, we went to the water, Lake Ray Hubbard, and just sat by the water and watched the water and enjoyed it was such a beautiful day today. Enjoyed
Nice.
the weather and the conversation. So sometimes, yes, you do have to say, like you said, you took off of work. You got to step back and say, you know what? I know this is important,
Mhm.
but if I'm not doing well, then I'm not going to show up like I need to be able to
Yep.
do whatever it is. Sometimes you just got to take that reset and do that. So that's really
Mhm.
powerful. And that definitely
Yep.
helps with the happiness and joy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
It's
this is
okay.
the last segment. I want to ask you, because it's called the Elevated Flow Podcast. When are you in your flow state? What are you doing where you're just like, this is it? And how do you elevate that flow state?
Ooh. So I feel like I'm in my state when when I have a cooking experience here in my studio. I'm in my flow state.
Mm,
Then there's nothing that brings me joy to be amongst good energy in the room.
mm,
It puts me in where I'm able to something I visualize
mm-hmm,
and you see it manifest. So like my 50th birthday, I did a cooking experience that I sold tickets for. It was like I have a part of the cooking experience is called Deliciously Social, the After Dark edition.
mm-hmm.
So the first one launched last August. The other one was So the other one was Deliciously Social After Dark Holiday Edition. That was in December. Then it was the Deliciously Social After Dark Tiffany's Birthday Turn Up, whatever I
Okay.
called it, right? And it was so crazy because the one for my birthday ended up being with 20 women in the room. There were no men who came to that one. The one before that I had about at least 5, I think. And so it was like a bunch of girls getting together having a good old time. I had a female DJ.
Mm.
'Cause I had a DJ component to my cooking event, especially the after dark events. They usually have a DJ component.
Mhm.
And so she's played a song. I had made my whole entrance, or just the cooking of the food and people having fun and they drinking and enjoying themselves and just, being creative. And I'm just laughing and I have my team, so I don't have to do all the hands-on stuff because
Mm.
they know what to bring out next. They know what to do. I'm just socializing. I'm in my flow state,
That's awesome.
inspiring people, having them have a good time. That's my flow state. I love what I do. It's fun. I love people. I love connecting. I love the networking part of it and be able to tell my story and be able to share and inspire other people. Hey, you got a dream or something you want to do? You can
Right.
do this.
Right, right, right.
And so that puts me in my flow state. I love it.
I
I love
love
it.
it.
So it's about elevating. Every time I do one, I'm like, okay, how do I top the next one? How do I
Mm.
top the next? Okay, so I did this in December. How are we going to top December in January? So in January, we made it to the point where we were able to drop the tables. People sat down, they had their food.
Okay.
Whereas the last one, so because the tables dropped down, so like the last one before that, we didn't get to that point. People was just eating. They just started eating. I'm like, okay, we're gonna figure out how we're gonna make this even better. We
Right.
dropped the tables. We had different DJs. Yeah. So like every time I just try, how do I level this up again?
I
Next
love
level.
it.
I got more lighting and things like that. Just all kind of stuff.
Well, you
Yep.
definitely have created the environment, although I have never been there in person, but to see what it went from to what it is now,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
right.
so
Because you were in the beginning.
beautiful. Yes. And so you've definitely created that environment. And I'm sure that the people that you have attracted, or just like flows with that environment. So
Yes.
that is awesome. That is awesome. Well, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions in the afterflow. Okay. It's
Okay.
my Patreon community. And
Okay.
so if you've enjoyed this conversation so far, go ahead and click the link to join us in the afterflow, where I'm going to ask her some other questions, some steps that people can take to really elevate their flow and their wellness in work, wellness, and life. Okay. But before that, where can people find you online if they're interested in either booking you and seeing about having a cooking experience or just wanting to follow your journey?
I'm definitely on Instagram is one of the best places to find me. Tiffany D Inspires on Instagram. That's my most active Instagram page. I have more than one. Elevate.365. Elevate.wellness 365. But the main one is Tiffany D Inspires on Instagram. That's the number one way to find me and see what Tiffany is up to and what's the next upcoming event. That's the page you want to follow me on. If you're interested in doing anything with team building, culinary infused workshops, that is elevatewellness365.org. That's where you can find me on there. And it's still under my Tiffany Inspires umbrella. So if you're looking to do like a private cooking experience, you can still click on the tabs and you'll find a way to book that. But as far as the corporate stuff, education, educator wellness, that's where you can go to actually book me for that.
Awesome. Awesome. Are there any closing comments that was like a tongue twister, closing comments? Are there any closing
Comments.
comments that you would like to leave with our audience?
Just to remind people to take care of you.
Hmm,
You can't serve anyone else if you're running on empty.
absolutely.
And if you think that you're getting away with it, your body, as they say, your body keeps the score.
Yeah.
So you can't escape it. So if you think that you're going to keep going and it doesn't catch up with you, that you're good, trust me, your body is keeping the score. And at some point, it's going to set you down.
Right.
It's best to really create a culture within yourself and an intentionality that you're going to do things differently. Because if not, you're just basically it's insanity because you're doing the same things over and over and you're not getting nowhere.
Right.
So it's time to do something different so that your body will thank you later and you can definitely live healthy, happy, free and do the things that God has called you to do, because you have an assignment and you don't want to cut your assignment short because you didn't follow instructions. Be
Right.
obedient. Take care of yourself.
All right. Well, thank you. That was a word. That was a word. Live healthy, happy, and free. All right. Well, thank you so much, Miss Tiffany, for coming on the
Thank you for having
Elevated
me.
Flo podcast. Until next time, everybody, this is Coach Flo signing off. Remember to find your zone and elevate your flow. Peace.
1, 2,